I dropped my phone.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
The weather.
Yeah. Let's see you outside next week, Peretz.
Nah, don't worry. I got my fire pit.
There you go. Okay. So we're up to Ke'imra Kedirim. Right? That's what we got up to. We got up to the 2 dots yesterday. Yeah, so the Mishna says that if somebody makes a neder and saying that your food is going to be like an imra, which is a lamb, or kadirim, like a deer is a corral, which is meaning he meant that it's for animals that are going to be korbanos. Right, so Tana, imra, li imra, ki imra, any one of those terminologies. Right? So it seems like this is a different. The Mishnah said you have to say ki, like imra, kidirim. You have to say this, whatever you're making the neder on is like this. Right? But the Bryce is saying, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be ki. It could be either imra or li imra or ki imra. And same thing, dirim, li dirim, ki dirim. Eitzim, li eitzim, ki eitzim. Ishim, li ishim, ki ishim. Mizbeach, la mizbeach, ki mizbeach. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street. Heichel, li heichel, ki heichel. Yeah. Yerushalayim, li Yerushalayim, ki Yerushalayim. Yeah, so Kulan, if he says by all these cases, sha'oichalach, what I normally eat from you, so then it's assur. Meaning if he says imra or ki imra sha'oichalach, right? It should be like a lamb that I eat from you. So then that's a lashon neder. Remember we said that Taisa said that imra, when it means a lamb, so the pashas means a lamb for a korban. But he said it could mean this week's parsha. It could be that he's referring to the lamb that Avram Avinu brought after not shechting Yitzchak. Right. So again, if he says afterwards sha'oichalach, so then that's a proper neder. Loi oichalach muttar. But if he says ki imra loi oichalach, it's like a lamb. I'm not going to eat from you. Then that's going to be muttar. Right, which is because it's mashma that when he says I'm like a lamb is what I'm not eating from you. Mashma that what I eat from you is not a lamb. Right, again, it's hard to. I mean, it's all diyukim here, but basically that's what it seems to say. If a guy says like a lamb, or let's go with simple, like a korban. What I don't eat from you is like a korban. So it's mashma. What I do eat from you is not a korban. Right? Fine. So man shamina le, deloy shani le, imra le imra ki imra. Who is the Tana that doesn't differentiate between imra le imra ki imra? He doesn't care as long as you use the word imra or korban or deer or whatever, that it's considered a neder. R Meir, that's a shita R Meir. Ema seifa. But if that's the case, then what's the seifa says? V'kulan loy oichalach muttar. If all these cases, if he says I'm not eating from you, then it's muttar. But we learned in the Mishna la korban loy oichalach. If he says to a korban, I'm not. Well, it's not really two, but la korban, which is loy korban loy oichalach. R Meir assur. R Meir says it's assur. Again, we said that the ratio is R Meir. Then the Seifa says that R Meir says if a guy says la korban loy oichalach is still a neder. Nasa ka'omer la korban yehei lefikach loy oichalach. Right? This Gemara is going to be on Amud base. That what it means is to a korban, and we're adding in the word lefikach. I am not going to eat from yours. So therefore, it's a good neder. Right, so if he's saying the lefikach here, so how come he doesn't say lefikach in the first case? Meaning, why is R Meir in one way saying the le means takes the place of lefikach, and therefore he says I'm not eating yours, which is a much clearer neder. And the other place he says that's not what he meant. So lekasha, the Gemara says it's not a kasha. Had amar loy imra, right? Where he says lo or loy imra. Had amar imra. Meaning once talking about where he actually says no imra, no lamb, right? And there, so you can't say loy, that it means lefika. Had amar imra. Here it says imra, and that would be a neder, because we're going to say the le means lefikach, I'm not going to eat from you. So that's basically how I understand it. Okay, I don't know how clear that is, but that's basically they have to decide. The different Tanaim have to decide what it means by using these different terminologies, right? Yeah. Okay, so then weiter. Ha'omer sagt the Mishna. Ha'omer korban oila mincha chatas toida shlomim. Right? If a guy says korban oila mincha chatas, toida and shlomim. Yeah, so those are all the shyness of korbanos. Shani oichal lecha, that I eat from you. Assur, then that's assur. Rabbi Yehuda muttar, Rabbi Yehuda says muttar. So again, it's the same Machlokes on the Mishna. Yeah, so again, he doesn't say any words of ki, li, he just says korban, oila, mincha, chatas, toidos. These are all obviously korbanos or kachim. Shani oichal lecha, that I'm going to eat, that's assur. Rabbi Yehuda muttar, but Rabbi Yehuda says it's muttar. Why? Because Rabbi Yehuda holds that you have to say ki. Again, it's the same Machlokes. The Tanakama's R Meir. R Meir holds as long as you just use the word, that's enough to make a neder. Rabbi Yehuda holds no, you have to say ki. You have to say ki korban, ki oila, ki mincha, ki chatas, right?
Yes. Who says this guy ever ate any korbanos from the first fellow?
I don't think he. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, does it have? I mean, like yesterday, he had to have at least fasted on the father's yahrzeit, right?
Yeah.
Something in order to make it chal. So here, who says that he ever ate korbanos at all? I hear. Is that required here?
I mean, I don't know. He could walk over to somebody standing outside the mikdash and say all these things. Well, he has no shaykhs to the first fellow. What's he?
Right. I hear. I don't know if you need that qualification.
You go into Doma and you say to a guy, walk over to this table, just like I eat steak from you, I'm not eating steak now, right? He doesn't know this guy, never saw him in his life, and the guy tells the waiter to throw this guy away from me. What's he doing here?
Right.
It's probably that's how they spoke
I hear.
that, no?
What that's. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a hard. That's not why I'm having a hard time. That's one of the things that's causing me to have a hard time. At what point do you say that it needs to have precedence? It doesn't need precedence. You just say that it's also for a korban. I mean, I'm assuming that Klal Yisrael brought korbanos. So Memela, he's saying this thing is like a korban, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways, but the main point of this Machlokes in the Mishna is that the Tanakama, who's R Meir, says you don't need to say ki, just say korban. And Rabbi Yehuda says no, you have to say ki. What happens if he says ha korban, ki korban, and korban? So then if he says that, so then sha'oichel lecha, meaning that I eat from you, the things that I eat from you should be either ha korban, ki korban, or korban. Then that's assur.
This only exists. This only counts when the Beis Hamikdash existed. I can't say that now. You should be like a korban.
It's even now.
Yeah, so it has nothing to do with the Beis. Yeah, then, okay.
Yeah, that's right. He's talking about what Rabban was talking about. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the Beis Hamikdash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, but here, the
korban over here is different than the first part of the Mishnah, or this is a Meir Shita?
What?
When he says korban sha'oichalach, is that different than korban shani oichalach that we just said is muttar?
Yes, yeah. Well, we're going to see in the Gemara exactly who's talking here. We're going to see in the Gemara who's talking, who exactly is talking here, right?
Okay, but there is a difference in the lush.
I'm just
The ratio of
clarifying
the
if that's the
Mishnah.
difference here. Is it a different mandiyama? That's all.
Well, this
mean?
is R Meir.
Is this R Meir? Because R
This is
Meir
Rabbi
asks
Yehuda.
at the end.
No, the next part.
No, the next part's R Meir. This part Mashma not R Meir.
I mean,
no?
this part.
This
Yeah,
part's Mashma Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda just said before, carbon is muttar. If somebody says carbon, shani yoichalach is muttar.
Only if there's an oilam in Cherchatas there. One of the names of the korbanos.
Well, the problem is that we
No.
already know this according to
No,
R Meir.
carbon or oila. It's not carbon oila or carbon mincha. It's carbon, or you could say oila. You don't have to say carbon. You don't have to say carbon oila. You just say oila, or you can
I
just say
think
carbon.
it's with.
I don't think it's with.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. That's okay. We'll see in the Gemara how the Gemara is going to go back and forth with it. So let's see. Ha carbon, kick carbon, and carbon. Shaychalach, that's assur. Lick carbon, loy oichalacha. But if he says to a carbon, I'm not going to eat, R Meir assur. That's what the Gemara just quoted. I think Gemara right before the Mishna quoted that R Meir says that is assur. And we're going to see on Amud Beis now why he says that's assur. So Gemara says, Katani, carbon, ha carbon, kick carbon, shaychalacha assur. Right? The guy says ha carbon, kick carbon that I'm going to eat, it's assur. Stama, tanika R Meir. That's tam like R Meir. The loy shani lay, the R Meir doesn't differentiate between imra le imra. He doesn't care what adjective you use before the word imra. He doesn't care if you use le, ke, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. So the Gemara says, I R Meir. So if it's R Meir, hadikatani, then what we say, ha carbon sha'aychal lecha assur. If a guy says ha carbon, that I'm going to eat from yours is assur. But Tanya, but we learned in the Braisa, Maidim Chacham le Rabbi Yehuda, the Chacham Maidim Rabbi Yehuda, and Chacham here means Reb Meir. Be'aimer ha carbon, where a person says this is a carbon, v'ha oila, or this is an oila, v'ha mincha, and this is a mincha, v'ha chatas, sha'aychalacha, that I am normally going to eat from you, shemuttar, that's all muttar. Why? Shaloi neder zeh ela b'chaye carbon. When he's saying this neder, he's just saying it's a shavua. We're saying that terminology, ha carbon, is not a neder, it's a shavua. Right? So therefore, a shavua, he's just making a shavua by a carbon that whatever it is that he's going to do. I mean, he's not going to eat the meat. So it's a shavua, but it's not a neder, meaning theoretically, if he ate the meat, he wouldn't be over on a neder. It would be a shavua issue, but not a neder issue. Right? So it's a steer and a mayor. On Amud Beis, like kasha, the Gemara says, Hada Amar ha carbon. One is talking about what it says ha carbon, Hada Amar ha carbon, meaning, like we said before, he separated the words. He separated ha carbon and ha carbon. Right? Meaning when he says ha carbon straight without two words, then it's becoming a carbon, it's a neder. Right, but in the first one, ha carbon, that doesn't count, and therefore it's not a neder. My timer, what's the reason? Chaye carbon ka amar, because when you say ha carbon, he's making a shavua about the carbon, and it's not a neder. Right? Yeah. Okay. Fine. So then the Gemara asks, Katani lik carbon, loy oichalacha, R Meir assur. If a guy says, la carbon, really, then if he says that carbon, or la, I don't even know how to type it. If you don't say li, I'm not even sure how you type it. But la carbon, loy oichalacha, not a carbon, I'm not eating. That's a double negative, right? What I don't eat from you, I hope I say this over correctly, what I don't eat from you is not a carbon. Mashma, that what I eat from you is a carbon. Right?
Does he have to say this to a friend or just a random person? Doesn't matter.
Whoever it is he's making the neder
Whoever
from,
he's talking to,
whoever's
that's it.
meat he doesn't like.
Right.
Right? So, again, he's saying, la carbon, la achala, R Meir says it's assur. But we know, we said a few times already, that R Meir does not hold of this rule that from a lav you can automatically know you can learn out a positive. Meaning, just because we can infer from his words something, we don't infer it. So this fellow didn't say, I am making a neder not to eat this guy's meat. He's saying what I don't eat from this guy is not a korban. Okay, that's all he said. He didn't say that he's making the meat in his eyes like a korban. So Rabbi R Meir says it's assur. How can R Meir say it's assur? R Meir doesn't hold of this, that from a lav you can learn out from a negative you can learn out a positive, which is not exactly the best mashal in the world. Well, these is not exactly the way it is, but that's what he means. So Rav Abba gives a teretz. Nasa ke'omer lekarbon yehei. This is what we had on before the Mishna. It's Meir holds when he says la korban, what he meant by that is lekarbon yehei. The food should be like a korban. Lefikach lo oichel lecha. Therefore, I am not going to eat your food. So for some reason, Meir holds that when he uses that terminology, he really meant lefikach. Okay, so that's that. Fine.
Yaakov, I feel bad for the guy who stutters. Now you gotta start guessing. Did he say ha korban, la ha korban?
That's true. But okay, I don't understand what's going on with this whole thing. Why don't we just ask the guy what he meant? Does that not make a difference? Am I asking too simple a question? I'm embarrassed. It's almost a simple question. I'm too embarrassed to ask it because maybe I missed something. Does it make a difference if the guy tells you what he meant?
It seems to be an ansadi, the whole thing.
That's
it won't
what
make a difference what he says. Yeah.
That's Shiloh with the girl with the lottery ticket, right? When she said that she'll daven 3 times a day if he wins the lottery, and she won $7. If anybody doesn't remember, so I'm saying, what does a person mean when they say they're gonna do a Kabbalah if they win the lottery? Doesn't mean an instant lottery of $7. Do we say that, or do we say not? Do we care what the person says? Let's say a guy jumps up and down and says, "No, I was just messing around with you. I didn't mean for it to be a neder." Right? Do we care? It sounds like we don't care. Either way, we don't care. Okay, I don't understand it. Fine. Next Mishnah. The rest of this parak is not so. The rest of the parak is not too many lines, but it's not. And I see parak is already l'chaiming over there.
No, I just dropped it all over the place.
Chaval. Peretz, do you have to fast if you drop schnapps?
That's a big problem. I'm shy with this now. I just made a neder.
All right, Zog the Mishnah. Yeah.
Parents, maybe by accident you were holding a bourbon and you dropped it, so it's not so bad for you.
I have to have a nefesh now to see what the Rebbe is doing to me. Hey, Rebbe Aaron, good to see you back.
If you want to know what he looks like, you have Rebbena's green phone in case anybody misses what Rebbe Aaron looked like the last 2 nights. You have it. Anyway, okay. So, right? If a guy says to his friend, "I'm making a koinem is a lashon of a neder. My mouth that speaks to you." Yodi oisihimach, and my hands from doing anything with you. Ragli ma'alechasimach, and my feet from walking with you. Assur. Then that's considered a good neder. Again, the guy is saying, I refuse to talk to you, or I refuse to do any work with you, or I refuse to walk with you. Those are all, he uses the lashon of koinem. Koinem is a proper lashon of a neder. So then he's out, and that's taka assur. So when I ask a kasha ramino, ask you stira. Now this is a major rule right here. We discussed it a couple times before. The difference between a shavua and a neder. Here the Gemara says it straight out. There's a chumrah of swearing than nedarim. Over nedarim maybe b'shvuas, and shvuas and nedarim has a chumrah from shvuas. So each one has a chumrah over the other. Nedarim is more chomer. Shan nedarim chalan ala mitzvah kibur rishus. A neder can be chal on a mitzvah the same way it's chal on a rishus. Meaning, if a guy makes a neder, he's not sitting in the sukkah, so that works. He's not allowed to sit in that sukkah, even if that means he's going to be mevatel the mitzvah of sukkah. If he makes the shavua against the sukkah, masha'en kein b'shvuas, Shavua, you're not allowed to make a shavua against anything from the Torah. We'll see this all in a couple of blot, but that's the way that a neder is more chomer than shavua. Again, a neder can be made even against something in the Torah. A shavua cannot.
I'm telling you, but a neder can't be made that I'm not going to sit in a sukkah. It could only be made on a specific sukkah.
No.
The shvua is made on you.
That's the next line, really.
Isn't
A
that
shvua is going on. You're right. A
neder-
shvua is going on the
shvua is
person,
going on me,
and
the
a
neder is
neder
going
is
on a sukkah. So it can't
well,
go
that's
on
good.
all
That's
then
the
it's a
Gemara's
shvua.
kasha. Naftali, you're asking the Gemara's kasha.
Okay.
I think what you asked, that's exactly what the Gemara is asking, right? V'chaymer b'shvuas, and the shvuas is more strict. Shvuas chalas al davar sheyesh by mamish. A shvua can only be chal. I'm sorry. Shvuas chalas al davar sheyesh by mamish v'she'ein by mamish. A shvua can be chal on something that's tangible and something that's not tangible, right? Meaning you can make a shvua that you're not going to talk. Now talking is nothing, right? What do you call it? What do we say in Makkos? Lav shein by meisa. Right? A lav shein by meisa. Talking is a lav shein by meisa. Talk is cheap, right? So, or sleeping or anything like that, you can make a shvu on that, but you cannot make a neder on that. Meshein came by nedarim. So that's the kasha. So if we say that you can't make nedarim on speaking and on working and on walking, those are all non-tangible things. So how does our Mishna say that a guy can make a neder that he's not going to walk with his friend or work with his friend or speak to his friend? That he can make a shvua, he can do, but he didn't make a shvua, he made a neder. So a neder shouldn't work. A neder has to be chal on something tangible. So Rabbi Yehuda, ba'imar, it's talking about what he said, yes or pi lediburi. My mouth should be assur to talk to you. Yadi lemaseyem. My hands should be assur to do their work. Ragli liluchan, and my feet to walk with you. So he's not making a neder against the meis of talking and the meis of working and the meis of walking. He's making the neder against his feet, his mouth, and his hands. That's okay, because that's something tangible. Right? He's making, again, we thought that the neder is what the hands produce, or what the mouth produces, or what the feet produce. And now we're saying, no, that's not what he said. He was saying the neder was going on the mouth and the hands and the feet. Dekonami, and we can even be medayik like this in the Mishnah. Tani pi medaber imcha. I keep saying imcha because I keep thinking it's not it's the Gemara, it's Aramaic, it's Mishna, so it's not. Pi medaber imcha. It says, my mouth will speak with you. V'loikatani sha'ani medaber imcha, that I am going to speak with you. The word, the mouth came first. So the neder was going on the mouth, not on the words that come out from the mouth. Right? Okay. Hadran aloch kol kinoye. That's the first parent, right? Yeah. L'chaim to all those making l'chaims. L'chaim. Parrots, I had you l'chaim. I had a piece of meat from your leftovers from last night. So I was yodz my l'chaim for that. With that. Where's Jesse? He's not on for his l'chaim? Missing it. All right. Weiter. Okay, we'll start the next parak. So now the next parak gets to what we've been discussing the last 2 days, which is that you can't make a neder using a lashon of something that's assur anyways, even without, meaning the only thing they could use to make a lashon of a neder is something that humans can make assur. Again, I'm not sure that's the right way to explain it, but if something is assur regardless of any sort of human intervention, so then you can't make a neder for that. So like saying your food is like a chazar. Right, so chazar is assur from Hashem. That's not. It was always assur, always will be assur. So therefore, that you can't make a neder like that, right? You can only make a neder on like a korban. So you say, oh, this is going to be like a korban. So a korban, a human makes that into issur. Right, a korban, the animal is perfectly muttar before the human makes it assur. So that's basically what you're saying to your friends. Like the same way, I could take this korban that is muttar, and once I make it hektish, it becomes assur. So I'm taking your food that is really muttar to me, and I'm making it assur the same way you would do with a korban, right? You can't do that with anything that's assur unto itself, right? So memela, if you make a neder like that, it's muttar. So the Mishna says ve'elu mutarin, and these are the nedarim that are muttar. Chulin sha'oichel lecha, right? Chulin, that what I'm eating of yours is chulin. Now that one on the simple reading, I mean, chulin, of course, every food is chulin, right? Imagine I come into your house to eat a meal, and I say, oh, your food is chulin to me. Yeah, no kidding. If it wasn't, you couldn't eat it, right? It's chulin, kosher. Your food's kosher. I'm eating it. Yes, it's kosher, right? So that doesn't that we'll see in the Gemara why the Gemara exactly is saying chulin, but that there's no chiddush there. Of course, that's muttar. There's not even a neder. There's nothing assur about it. Chulin is chulin. It's muttar. Yeah, kibasar chazir. But if he says, what do you say?
If somebody asks somebody if his food is chodesh, is he answering it on him?
If somebody says to a guy that your food will be to me like chodesh, l'chara, that's like we learned yesterday with truma. Maybe not. What would it be?
Chutzlaretz, that would be like the yard site. If he's practiced the chodesh is assur, then it would be assur. If not, it would be muttar.
I'm not. I don't know. Can you say you're going assuming the bach is correct?
Either way, it's muttar. If something inherently assur is never. You can never assur. It's hatzvasa.
It's going to become muttar.
Becoming muttar is not something that you do. It's inherent. You're not making it muttar. You never made it assur. Hatzvasa only works if it's something that you were neder originally, like a korban that you made assur through your own thing. Something that's be'etzem assur, like chodesh, is assur until it's muttar. You can't do
that was the issue. Is it be'etzem assur?
You never made it assur, that's for sure. You can make a muttar, you never made it assur. It's inherently assur until it's muttar. It's never made assur by a human, like a korban.
Does it become muttar afterwards?
It does become muttar, after Pesach.
Right, but it never was made assur by you. It's inherently assur until it's muttar.
So you're saying, okay, I hear.
You can't do hatzvasa if you didn't do if the original thing you're trying to be matzah from was never neder,
right?
Was never assured by you. That's not hatzvasa.
Unless in chutzlaretz it's muttar and you're assuring it.
You don't assur it. You can't assur hachadash.
He's saying, I think what's Akiva is saying, if you hold it's muttar, so then it's muttar. If it's assur, it's assur.
It's no shaykhs to us making it muttar or assur.
Wait, no, that halach l'maisa, the minig is it's muttar, so halach l'maisa it's muttar.
What does that have to do with? It's not something that you could assur.
Yes, it is. In chutzlaretz, it's something you can make assur for yourself.
You can't make it assur. It is either assur or muttar. Ramesha made milk muttar. No, it's be'etzem muttar because it's considered chalav Yisrael according to Ramesha. You can't make it muttar.
That's the point. Chadash in chutzlaretz bisman hazeh is muttar.
It's not made muttar.
A person can make it.
How did I know we were almost finished the daf? We were almost finished the daf. I knew we were almost finished because you guys started arguing.
Because you looked at the time and you said we're almost done.
I apologize because I didn't have to ask that. I apologize.
What talk if a guy says
it's early? It's early. Anyhow, we have to make it for how we're taking off of voting for tomorrow, Tiago.
You could have voted for the last week, Parrots, please.
What happens if a guy's taka says, I'm making your food to me like chalav stam?
It's not, I don't know what that means. It's not assur. You can't, it doesn't matter. That's why it doesn't work that way. Then we missed the last 10 blocks.
Well, that's another thing. Does it work for Yisur D'Rabbanan or only Yisur D'Oraisa?
Nothing would be assur, even if you tried to assur chazir, like the Mishna says, it doesn't become assur.
Correct.
Because you can't, it doesn't matter. If something's be'etzem assur, but you can't create isur.
It has to be assur. It has to be assur, right?
It has to be able to be assur like a korban.
Right.
You
but
can
maybe
make it
it's muttar. But maybe from Dinei Torah it's muttar, and the Chachamim came and made it assur. So therefore the Hatfasa would work.
That's not something you could do.
Not me personally, but humans.
I don't know.
I don't know either. No shine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's. I don't know. It's here. Either way. So guys, again, he says ve'elu mutar. These are things that are muttar. Chulin she'oichel lecha. Chulin, that I'll eat your food is chulin. Okay, that's pashut, that's muttar. Kibasar chazir, like the meat of a chazer, ka'avodas kechavim, like avodas zara, ka'aris levuvin. Aris levuvin means the skin of the heart, meaning they would pull out the heart of an animal when it was alive, and somehow they use that for avodas zara. Kenevelus, treifus, shkotzim, ramasim, right? Those are the things that are in all our fruits and vegetables. No, it's not. Shkotzim and ramasim is shkotzim, or ramasim maybe. Yeah, no, even that's bugs. But either way, kechalas Aaron, like we had yesterday, like the chala of Aaron, ukechumasa, and like the chuma again, it doesn't mean dafka Aaron, it just means kaihanim. So all those things are muttar. Why? Like we said, because anything that's assur min hadin and it has nothing to do with a human making it assur, that can't be part of hatfasa. That's what we call hatfasa. That can't work for a neder. Then the Gemara says an interesting case in the Seifa. Now this sounds like a real serious shalom bayis issue. But a guy tells his wife, "You're my mother," right? You guys imagine, tells it to his wife, "You are assur to me like my mother," right? So now his mother was assur to him always. Correct? So it should not be a neder. Right? The neder should not be. So l'chara should just, the Mishna should just say, if a guy tells his wife, "You're assur to me like my mother," then it should be a muttar, meaning he should be muttar to be with his wife, because that's not a good neder. But no, we have to open up a Pesach from someplace else. So Pesach, we haven't gotten to this yet, but when somebody wants to be matter neder, you can't just go be matter neder for whatever reason you want. You need to either have charata, which is regret doing the neder, or a Pesach means that you have to have an opening with which to say that the original neder wasn't done properly or something like that, which we'll get to Be'ez Hashem. So here we can't just say the neder is not a neder. We have to give him an opening. Why? Because he shouldn't be have kalas roish with this. Meaning, if we're going to just tell this guy, "Oh, you made a neder against your wife, and now you want to go back to her," and we're going to say, "Oh yeah, it's muttar because your neder wasn't done properly," and then the guy's going to do it all the time, and then one day he'll say, "My wife is a korban to me," and there he's going to need to do a real hataras nedarim, but he's not going to realize. He's going to think, "Oh, the rabbis want me to get back together with my wife," so then they always just say that the neder is not a neder, meaning the person's not going to realize that it's a technical reason why his wife's not assur to him. Right? Meaning the common folk are not going to know that the reason why they can't be matter, that they don't have to be matter neder, is because there was a technical point that he said his wife is his mother, which can't work as a neder. But if he says his wife's a korban, it will work as a neder. He's not going to know the difference. So therefore, we have to do something to him. We have to give him like a headache in order to get the neder off, so that he shouldn't think that he could just do this to his wife. Right? Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue the rest tomorrow. Somebody just texted if getting back to the previous thing is the kitzur shir. Can you vote before davening? No.
I always, Yaakov, when in the old yeshiva, I always voted before davening. I was the first person to vote. When I walked for the 6 o'clock minyan, I stopped by the school. I voted and went to the 6 o'clock minyan. Yeah.
Is that it to eat before davening or to vote before davening?
Oh, it's the same shot.
I wasn't sure, so I had a Danish with me, so.
You did
a Danish in one hand and a pen in the other hand?
I wasn't sure. So.
Okay. Which candidate was giving out the Danishes?
So now what happens if I say I'm making a neder against your food, like voting before the davening? Is that a good neder? Okay, I don't know. But no, the question is, David, should he daven be yechidus instead of voting before the davening? That could be. Is it more important to daven before you vote and daven without a minyan, or daven with the minyan and vote before the minyan? That's what we're learning in Kitzur for all those tuning in now.
Well, he didn't say he can't daven with the minyan before the voting. He's just asking if he can vote before davening.
Okay, I'm saying, but let's say the guy has to get to work by 6:30 or whatever, and the net, whatever, he can't daven. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I told him as long as he says all the brachas.
The answer is not always you could do this. And Hanami, you can do a lot of things. You could have voted for the last week. Bottom line is the guy has to go vote. And does he daven quickly and go vote, or does he go vote and then daven?
I personally think that it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to vote, and since it's a mitzvah to vote, you can do a mitzvah before davening. I mean, he should say the brachas hashachar first, and then go down. Is that
doesn't matter who you vote for?
No, the truth is it doesn't. They need to see that they didn't vote. That's the main thing, right? That's the main thing. Anyways, all right, whatever it is. Okay, have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Tomorrow night I might be here again.